more Pokemon Creepypasta. So today we're going to be reading Strangled Red. And let's just get into it. There are a ton of stories out there about hacked Pokemon games. Some of them really quite neat, such as the one about a version where you're going to get a ghost as a starter. Some are ridiculous, silly stories about individual dying after playing a game or talking about them, or the game talking to them. God, don't these writers know less is more when it comes to these stories? Well, I digress. I grew interested in these hacked games that are apparently in any thrift store, on eBay, or handed out by homeless people to random passerbys. I didn't have the pleasure of meeting these creepy people. I merely found this particular cartridge in the trash bin when the garbage truck backed into my neighborhood's dumpster. I noticed the game and asked the trash man if I could take it, and he didn't seem to mind. It was thrown away after all. I of course checked my neighbor to confirm they didn't actually want it, though they seemed perplexed as they'd never seen it in their life. Their son made a grab for it, a little boy who saw the Charizard on the cover crying out, "Pokemon, I want it, Mommy!" But his mother said no, seeing as I found it. He didn't even have a Game Boy anyways, he just liked Pokemon. There's nothing more. I simply went home looking at the cartridge sticker on the way. Just a plain old red version, the sticker torn slightly across the Charizard's neck, but that was expected with such an old game. I had blue version as a kid, so I was a bit eager to see, albeit minimal differences, red version had. I was rather disappointed by what I saw when the title screen showed up. Pokemon Strangled Red version. Well, damn it. It was a hack. Hacks were neat and all, but they had zero monetary value, and the original's quite valuable by now, and I wanted to play Red anyways, not this crap. Oh well, it was free, and I might as well try it anyways. The name was odd, however. Strangled Red? That made no sense. Not even in a morbid description of someone being asphyxiated as people turn blue when choking. Not red. Who knows? Maybe when there's a pair of these hacks, I just got the red one. The more I thought about this, though, the more interested I became. My initial disappointment turned into curiosity, and I wanted to know what the creator had made, and I was going to know everything I saw. The first oddity I noticed was the start screen had a Charizard next to a trainer instead of a Charmander, and also the Pokemon never cycled through like the original versions did. It just stayed Charizard, even after 5 minutes of waiting. Shrugging, I hit start. I noticed there was no Charizard cry as I did like there was supposed to be. I saw that there was a continue option, so I figured I'd do what everyone did and use the game to see what the previous over had done. No. I blinked in surprise. No? What do you mean, no? The game wouldn't let me continue no matter what, though on the fourth attempt I heard a Charizard cry, quiet and barely audible, but there. Checking it off, I decided to just hit new game like I would have done after checking the old file anyway. The screen cut black for a while, no Professor Oak, no starting theme, just nothing at all. Eventually the screen came back, showing a bedroom, 2 beds, 2 TVs, and a computer in the corner. My trainer sprite was the usual one, consistent of the original red version. I was curious as to why it didn't ask my name, though that was answered as I opened the pause menu, noticing my trainer's name was Steven. No, this isn't my real name, or some stupid crap like that, and this game isn't self-aware or haunted, at least not that I know of. I just had a name chosen already. Curious, I saw he had the starter amount of money, and no badges. Yeah, it looks like Red, though. His hair was longer, almost reaching halfway down his back. Red's usual smile replaced with a confident smirk, and honestly, I found this sprite much cooler than Red. Next, I checked out his Pokemon, a single Charmander, level 5, named Mickey. Nothing odd about it, or should I say her, with a name and all. She had a beginning Charmander stats, only knew Scratch and Tail Whip, basic stuff, and the game seemed relatively normal. Returning to the game, I walked about the room, noticing Steven's long hair was present on the back of my trainer's sprite when the back was turned to the camera. I didn't recognize the house, but I descended to the stairs to see more. Downstairs was another trainer, who spoke to me in an instant when I came down. Mike. Ready yet? Steven. Yeah. I assumed this Mike was my rival, pre-decided for me, a replacement of Blue most likely, though I had thought back to the bedroom having 2 beds, realizing they weren't just rivals, they were brothers. They talked back and forth, basic Pokemon dialogue, became a Pokemon master, catch 'em all, stuff like that, before having a little argument over which is better, Charmander or Squirtle, which of course led to the introduction battle, like the one versus Blue in the lab. Simple enough, scratch, tackle, till I won purely for having the first turn. I took note of how much better Steven's sprite looked in combat to Red's. A different pose, his hair looking like it was blowing in the wind, a brief, minor upgrade, but still much nicer. I left the house after some banter with my brother, stepping onto the Pallet Town theme. Going to the east, I found this was indeed Pallet Town, and the house was simply in the outskirts to the west. I noted there was no mystery grassy field like a normal Pallet Town. Wandering about, I decided to check in on Red's home. His mother was inside, and when I talked to her, she commented on how handsome Stephen looked, hoping her son would look up to him as a role model for when he became a trainer himself next year. Which, of course, led for me to realize this game took place a year before the original Pokemon. Red was even upstairs playing the SNES in his room, commenting, "I'm going to be the best too when it's my turn." I was starting to like this hack. It was interesting, a completely new adventure and a different character. Hell, Steven seemed to have a history with the people in town, a reputation, and a personality beyond a silent protagonist. The people in the town talked to him as a person, making conversation, not just spouting tutorial crap. Even Blue's sister had new dialogue. They seemed to be in a relationship too, as the dialogue ended with a kiss and a heart over her head. Professor Oak simply wished me well, giving me a Pokédex to aid my adventure. He wasn't giving me... Come here! He wasn't giving it to me to be the reason behind the adventure like every other Pokemon game out there. He gave it to me out of the kindness and something to help me along my way. A gift. Come here! I was liking this more and more with each second, and the game seemed to have an actual story now. I was somebody, not just a cookie-cutter protagonist anyone could be, and not the same blank sheet that could be replaced without notice. The story was different, though. The actual game remained unchanged, and I went north like I was supposed to, went town from town, collected badges, received praise from the leaders. Even Stephen's fame even seemed to spread as some NPCs would talk like they knew him. I used Mickey for every battle, and she was growing up surprisingly fast. She handled Brock with ease and even pounded Misty with no trouble at all. She wasn't as avidly effective by super effective attacks as other did more damage than a regular Charmander. She was more vertically a powerhouse, and she even became a Charizard at the mere level of 25, and not bad at all, I must say. Things started to get weird though as soon as I reached Lavender Town. I know. Lavender Town is the focus behind every keeper story and the like, but it was the only place that was noticeably different. There's no Team Rocket invasion, which I found odd, though I did remember this was a year in the past, so the invasion wouldn't occur until Red's time. I tried entering the tower aiming to get a Ghastly, but that's when it got odd. I have no reason to be here. Steven wouldn't go in the Pokemon Tower no matter what I did. This was weird. I mean, hell, there are a million places in Kanto you really don't need to be. Little random houses, but with nothing but children and NPCs, for example. Why was it here that Steven wouldn't enter? With a shrug, I figured I wouldn't need a Ghastly, seeing as Mickey could handle anything, so I simply went on with my way in Lavender Town, serving no purpose on a passageway with Pokemon Center. Perry. The game progressed normally from there, and the remaining gyms fell, and eventually I made my way to the Elite Four and defeated them. As with Blue, my brother, Mike was there before me, initiating the championship battle, which Mickey swept with ease. The aftermath of the battle was quite pleasant, and on the tension that was present before Red and Blue at the end of the match, the brothers congratulated each other on their progress and shook hands before the screen went white. No Hall of Fame and nor any credits. When the screen came back, it was at the house again, the two brothers sitting at the computer, conversing with each other. Steven, I don't want to. Mike, come on, I just gotta borrow her for a second to finish the Pokédex. The entry won't register unless it recognizes me as a master for a second. But she's my Mickey. I promise I'll give her back. Come on, please? Yes or no? I was a bit perplexed, so I hit no to be cautious. Come on, please? No. Come on, please? I realized this would simply be a continued loop until I hit yes, so I did just to see what would happen. Alright, this will just take a sec. Then we'll both be Pokemon Now Masters. The screen changed to animation to show when two people trade Pokemon, which I found a bit weird, seeing as I was solo, but whatever, this was apparently supposed to happen. Mickey went first, and I watched lazily as she began to travel down the trading tube. Snap! That made me jump. The sudden noise resonating in my silent bedroom, loud due to the noise to the volume being all the way up. Looking at the screen, I noticed the game had seemed to freeze. Mickey still in mid-trade, but the game wasn't doing anything. With a sigh, I turned off the game, wondering what my last save was. When the game turned back on, I stared for a moment at the start of the screen. There was no Charizard next to the trainer. Upon pressing start, I saw the new game option was absent, leaving only continue. That was strange, to say the least, so I selected it. And the game started without even showing my stats as usual, and my jaw dropped at what I was greeted with. What I was greeted with 1 year later. The Lavender Town theme came first, playing its normal way, the screen slowly fading into from blackness. Steven was in the Pokemon Tower, which made the music even stranger. Seeing as the tower had its own theme, he was standing in front of a tombstone not doing anything. When it was going on, I pressed A. Confused, I tried walking, realizing I was indeed control at the moment. I brought up the pause menu and checked my party. Mickey was gone. Not just Mickey, all Pokemon. He had nothing. Pokedex was absent from the menu, his bag was empty, and honestly, concerned now, I had checked his trainer card. He had no money, no badges, and his game time was 8,795 hours, which was impossible, as I only had 30 logged in before. But that wasn't the strangest part. The picture of the handsome, confident young trainer was different. His eyes were blank, his face turned slightly down. That smirk of his was gone, replaced by any lack of expression at all. The long hair of his before the perfect perm was now messy and unkempt. I couldn't look at him anymore. Closing the menu, I went to move out of the tower, but with every step I took away from the tombstone, the screen flickered like it did when a Pokemon was poisoned. Gulping, I brought up the trainer card again. His picture was getting worse. Every step I took, he hung his head more and more. His shoulders slumped, and he bent over. By the time I exited the tower, he was on his knees, hands to his face, his hair draped across him. I'd guessed already what was going on, but this clinched it. I began to put some things together in my mind, and I always wondered why there was no champion in the original games besides your rival. Why is it you, the protagonist, had to beat your rival, when you just waltzed in, no previous champion to challenge? Then it struck me. The answer is right here. The previous champion gave up. His precious Mickey was apparently dead, and with her so died part of him. His Pokédex, the other Pokemon, his badges, his fame, all of it, he threw it away. And that year, the year that I missed, the year that where all those hours came from, I even did the math. There were 8,765 hours in a year. Add that to my 30 from before, and it matched up. Even so, the game kept going. This should have been an ending, I thought. I mean, what else was there to do? I had no Pokédex, no Pokemon, not anything. What was I supposed to be doing? I talked to everyone in town, but they all had similar things. Are you okay? Still mourning, I see. Everything will be alright. Please, is there anything we can do? Stephen had never replied to them, and they all seemed to say the same things over and over, and I couldn't put the game down now. This was all so strange. Curious, I head off to the tall grass and eventually got into the battle with the Rattata. No Pokemon was sent out, just Steven's sprite. I was wondering how I'd battle. The wild Rattata loved to be. The battle ended without anything happening. That was certainly interesting in how it happened with every Pokemon I encountered. Wild Pidgey, ignore you. Wild Ponytail wandered off. The music never changed either, no matter where I went. Lavender Town keeping the speakers, following me, sometimes slowing down slightly, and sometimes not. I searched everywhere, in every town, and talked to everybody, wondering just what the hell I needed to do. My frustration was mixing with the depressing atmosphere of all this, mixing the experiences all together, unnerving and uncomfortable, but I couldn't tear myself away. I was starting to get a bit angry, though, nobody telling me anything besides giving me their condolences or trying to give me items like lemonade or coffee, each met with no. I slammed myself for idiocy, or suddenly realizing how likely the answer was sitting right in front of me. Pallet Town, of course. When I went there, though, which took a long time, having to walk, no Pokemon to fly with, no bicycle to ride, and Steven seemed to only move half the regular movement speed, and it wasn't much different. I tried talking to Professor Oak. These things happen. You're just unlucky. Next I tried Blue's sister. Please, don't leave home again. Red's mom wouldn't even talk to me at all. With nowhere else to go in mine, I walked to the west, finding my house in the beginning, which I never entered since leaving Black Pallet Town, and inside was Mike, but talking to him was just as useless. I'm so sorry. I pondered for a moment if this was really the ending. Stephen doomed to do nothing but roam Kanto in misery, haunted by the memories, and forced to listen to everyone's concern about him. As a last-ditch effort to do anything, I went to the bedroom and walked over to the bed. I'm going to sleep. The screen faded to black for a moment, but then slowly faded back in, and the world was having a black tint to it. The Mike sprite laying in the other bed, I assumed it meant it was night. I'm gonna do it. Do what? Again, I had no idea trying to inspecting everything in the room, but nothing happened. And as soon as I left the house, another dialogue. It can bring her back. It can do anything. What the hell was it? Something that could do anything. I couldn't for the life of me figure it out. Wandering about, I tried to leave Palatown the usual way. Not that way. He wouldn't go any further, so I tried the homes. Screw them. I quirked my eyebrow at that, forgetting for a moment this was not a real Pokemon game. The vulgarity just took me off guard. I continued to look around, but there was nowhere I could go until I accidentally stepped on the ocean, and Stephen walked right in. Only the upper half of his sprite visible, like the swimmers you encounter at the swimming gym. I didn't know he could swim. The missing one. Missing one? I paused for a moment. No, he couldn't possibly mean that. I hadn't tried the missing note trick on this hack yet, but it just fit too well. Like, that had to be what he meant. I surfed all the way towards Cinnabar and began to feel something was off, more so than this already was. Silence. The Lavender Town theme had stopped and there was no noise at all, nor were there any Pokemon. I just kept going till finding Cinnabar and surfing up and down the East Coast, and lo and behold, Wild Missing No appeared. Mine. And Wild Missing No was caught. What the hell? Steven didn't do anything. He just commanded the atrocity of a broken data to join him. No became his possession and did it. I was getting more and more disturbed by all this, checking the start menu and saw missing no was not in my party, but instead an item, making things even stranger. I checked the trainer card as well, and Steven has his back to me, his long hair draped behind him, his hands in his pockets, and nothing else. Remembering what he said at the start of this night, I realized what I had to do. I surfed to the land and made my way northwest to where else? Lavender Town. Along the way, I noticed all the trainers, all these still out in this hour, wouldn't look at Stephen, all of them turning when he passed, and even those that were normally static, I tried talking to the officers in the guard house tower type building. Just go. They all said the same thing. The one sent chills down my spine. Sometimes dead is best. My hands were sweating at this point. Stephen was about to try the impossible, something some would say as a crime of nature, which many of these people shared that opinion. I steeled myself, it's just a game, and I was going to complete it. It took an eternity to reach the Pokemon Tower, but I got there eventually, taking a deep breath and heading towards the tombstone. I remember which one, and the image of Steven standing before it. It was burned in my mind after all. First I tried expecting it. Mickey. Nothing happened. With a gulp, I opened the menu, selected missing note from the bag. Steven, don't use it. I was reminded of Professor Oak would magically tell you that you couldn't use a key item somewhere, like when using a bicycle in a building, though the message this time was different. Even worse, Steven responded to it. In a world that cheated me, why should I play fair? Steven used it. Steven obtained. What in God's name did I just obtain? I couldn't tell you because the game took away my control. Without my input, Steven began to leave the tower on his own, walking a single step by single step. Lavender Town theme was started again as he left the tower and began an excruciatingly slow journey against my will. Every time he crossed one of the borders where the music would change, it got progressively slower, more and more disturbing by the time he reached Cerulean City. It was a demonic rumbling. I just stared and watched him trying to guess where he was going, but it was getting more and more obvious. He was heading to Pallet Town. The music had all stopped when he got there, playing a single note by single note, and he went exactly where I had guessed, right to his own house, inside and up the stairs. At this point, there was no music. Stephen moved step by step, stopping in his brother's bed and turning to face him. At first, I thought the game froze and he didn't do anything, simply stood there, and I couldn't move him. I did, however, find out I could open the pause menu. I was terrified to look, but I couldn't stop myself, and I selected his trainer card. There was a low growl noise, like a distorted Pokemon cry. Stephen was looking at me again, directly at the screen. He was hunched over, his bangs obscuring his face, and his hair was wild and feathered out. Between his bangs, there wasn't even a face to look at, just black. 2 red eyes looking straight forward, and a white grin contrasting with the darkness. And that was it all. His name was now I couldn't look away, my eyes glued to his, stopped breaking contact for some time. My vision was getting blurry until I couldn't see very well, and my face grew wet. I was crying like a baby. There was nothing I could do to hold back the tears. I was with this boy from the start, and I built him up to greatness, and then forced him to watch his decline after a tragic accident. And now, he was this thing, this abomination. I watched him go insane. Halting my tears, wiping my eyes, I closed out the trainer card and tried to save the game, wanting to just quit. The game informed me this was impossible. Nothing can be saved now. The pause menu wouldn't close no matter what I did, so no other option. I checked the bag. Nothing happened. I checked the Pokemon, and there's one. A single sprite met me. It had 0 HP and its status DED, and its name. I selected it and was graded with 4 options. Status: it's her. Switch: never. Close: no. Strangle. My fingers shaking, I selected Strangle, and the menu closed, showing Steven in the room again. Goodbye. Snap. The game shut itself off, and I was more dumbfounded than frightened. In a bit of shock, I turned back on a title screen showing the manic Steven and horribly glitched Charizard. I pressed start and then continue. All I saw was a zoomed-out view of Pallet Town, showing Steven's home to the west, tall grass surrounding it, and those unmovable stones blocking it from the town. The image was completely static, no music, no movement, before fading to white and going back to the title screen. It was as it had been when I first popped in, a trainer card, a trainer, and a Charizard. I attempted to hit continue, and no. Yikes. That's creepy as fuck. Yeah. I always like reading about like all these like creepy hacked versions of the game. What will happen if I play? Because the curiosity got the best of me. Oh no, now I'm traumatized for life. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. If you enjoyed my channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, hit the bell so you don't find videos for every Wednesday. I love you guys.